Hello friends, welcome to another episode of Killingly Public Library's craft video series. Today we'll be using some scraps you probably have around the house, a K-cup, some book pages, a little glue, some coffee grounds, not brewed, and a little skewer. This one, I think it's about 6 inches, but you could use a larger one or a smaller one depending on the size of the tree you're looking for, and some twine and a little scrap cardboard. I used parts of from some type of a box, like a cereal box, a tissue box. I don't know what the box was. I've got bunches of it in my office I saved for just this occasion. And I started by finding a star and cutting it out, and then I traced it onto my cardboard. One side is white, the other side is the paper. And I am going to brush the cardboard side, the non-shiny side, with some glue. I have my paintbrush and just some regular white glue. You could also use Mod Podge, and if you wanted, you could even water down the glue with water, a 1-to-1 ratio. I am just gonna wet my brush a little bit and brush it on. I am not worried about the ratio for this. I'm just gluing on some coffee grounds. It doesn't really matter to me. So I've brushed on my glue, and I'm just going to take and sprinkle some coffee grounds on here. Shake them off a little bit. And there. So we have a star with coffee grounds on it, and I'm going to do the other one. Okay, I have 2 stars done. I'm just going to put them aside to dry for a few minutes while we continue on with the rest of our project. All right, the next thing that we're going to work on is our K-cup. I am going to put a little glue on the bottom of the K-cup, and I'm just going to start winding the twine around and around. It'll be a swirl type pattern on the bottom, and then I'll start going up the sides. We're just dabbing a little glue there to kind of hold it down. And you could use regular glue. It would take a while to dry. The hot glue does work better, especially for the video. And unless you're planning on holding it for a while, you probably would want to use hot glue as well. So there you can see the swirl. I'm going around and around. I'll get to the edge, and then I'll just continue around and around all the way to the top. And when you get to the top, you don't have to worry about covering the lip where the foil had been on your K-cup, because we'll be covering that with our book page, so it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna keep gluing, and I'll catch you in a minute. So here's my K-cup. It's all finished, my bottom and my sides. I did leave the top open. I mean, you certainly could put the twine there if you wanted, if you have extra, but it's not necessary. The book page is going to cover that. So I chose to cut my book pages with some fancy scissors I have. I don't know if you can see the little black line on here. It's like a little squiggly-ish kind of line. That gives the that is to show you what your paper will look like when you cut it. So I don't know if you can see. You do not have to do that. I wanted that look, so that was what I chose to do. You could cut with regular scissors. You could even tear your pages. Tearing gives a nice look as well. Um, I think it's pretty similar to the look of the scissors. I just thought the scissors would be quicker, and I mean, I am trying to get work done here. So that's what the torn edges look like. So you play around and see what you like, what works for you. I am then going to take my skewer, and I'm going to take some of my book pages. I have cut them in varying sizes. I didn't measure anything. I just took my scissors and chopped away up the pages. I tried to make them kind of square. Obviously, you can see this is not a perfect square, but more square than a rectangle. That was my goal. And I'm just going to use the pointy end of the skewer and poke it through what appears to be the middle of the skewer. And I'm going to continue. You can see I've kind of staggered them a little, just turned them ever so slightly. I'll just continue doing different sizes. I've got some larger ones here on the bottom. One thing I will say is you want the large ones to at least cover your K-cup rim so that it's not showing. So you want to have it at least that wide, and then it doesn't matter. You could have it wider, but you want it at least that wide, and stagger sizes, so a bunch similar for a while and then gradually get smaller and smaller and smaller until we get to the top and they're going to be real small. So I'm going to go and thread these onto my skewer, and I'll let you see what it looks like when we're done. I have threaded my skewer with my pages, and I tried to vary the sizes going from larger to smaller as best I could. If you're not under pressure like I am to get it done for the video, you probably can do a better job. I also left a little space at the top, about a ½ inch or so, because that's where I'm going to attach my star. If you don't want a star, you could make more pages up there. You may also want to condense your pages further together. If you look closely, you can still see my skewer through there a little bit, so you can see my trunk. But it's good enough for now, and if I was being particular, maybe I wouldn't want to see it, but that was all the pages I really cut. I have a few extra, but not really enough to do more than that. So what I'm going to do now is put some glue on the bottom of my skewer and stick it into my K-cup, but I'm also going to run some glue along the rim of the K-cup so that my bottom book page can stick to it. Once you have that glued in, if you need to fix your pages, you know, maybe handling it, you've mussed it up a little bit, then feel free to do so. I am going to take my stars now. Mine are not quite dry. I would recommend that you wait till yours are dry. And I'm going to glue them onto the top like so. And I'm going to do kind of a sandwich them in between the little piece of the skewer that's sticking up. So there's my star glued on. I did lose quite a bit of coffee grounds. I'm going to throw some more on, but what I was going to do before I lost my coffee grounds was take some more glue and put it on the coffee grounds to seal it. Here, now I've put a coat of glue onto my coffee grounds to seal it. I also ran a little glue around the edges. I'm going to sprinkle with a little more coffee grounds just to hide any cardboard that might be visible. There. So I was looking for a more country rustic looking tree, so that was why I went with the coffee ground star and the twine base. But maybe you want I don't know, a gold star or a silver star on top. If you've got something that would create that look, go for it. Another option for the base would be to paint the K-cup or use some cloth, maybe some felt. Maybe you don't even want to use a K-cup. Maybe you want to mold something out of clay, or maybe you have a nice clay pot you could use. All kinds of options and ideas, but this was what I had and this was what I went with. So experiment, play around, get creative. And I'd love to see your finished trees. Please forward them to info@killinglypl.org. And I'll catch you in another one of our craft videos. Until then, have a great day.